low, distant hum of aircraft engines blends with the soft crackle of radio static, the kind that never truly leaves a man's ears once he has learned to listen for it. The night air over Tinian Island is heavy, pressing down on the roads of Part B, Tordiyaing superfortresses like an unseen hand. Floodlights cast long shadows beneath their wings, turning aluminum skin into pale ghosts against the dark. Mechanics move quietly, almost reverently, tightening bolts and checking fuel lines. No one jokes tonight. Sweat runs down their backs despite the hour. They know this aircraft is different. The bomb it carries is different. No one says its name out loud. Inside a wooden briefing hut, the air smells of cigarette smoke and damp paper. Colonel Paul Tibbets stands before a large map pinned to the wall, Japan outlined in red grease pencil. His voice is steady, practiced. We fly one aircraft. One weapon. Weather reconnaissance ahead of us. No fighter escort. Our best defense is altitude and speed. A chair creaks. Someone swallows hard. Hiroshima, Tibbets continues, tapping the map. Primary target. Military depots, industrial center, transportation hub. Captain Robert Lewis keeps his eyes fixed on the floor. He has flown dozens of missions, seen flag burst like black flowers around his cockpit, watched burning aircraft fall into the sea. None of that feels like this. This feels heavier, like standing on the edge of something you cannot step back from outside. A propeller turns, then another. Engines cough to life, one by one, until the airfield vibrates with power. Across the ocean, dawn begins to stretch its pale fingers over Japan. Hiroshima wakes slowly. Streetcars rattle along tracks. Shop owners lift shutters. Children in work uniforms gather with brooms, clearing fire breaks carved through neighborhoods by forced demolition. The city has learned to live with war sirens, ration lines, telegrams, but this morning feels calm. Lieutenant Masao Nakamura walks through the streets toward his post, boots echoing softly. He notices the sky clear, almost beautiful. American bombers have flown over cities before, sometimes dropping nothing at all. The lack of alarms brings a fragile sense of relief. High above the Pacific, the Enola Gay climbs steadily. The sun rises behind the aircraft, turning the cockpit windows into sheets of gold. Inside, oxygen masks hiss softly. The crew speaks little, conserving words and courage alike. Bomb bay doors open, Tibbets orders, metal groans as the doors separate. Cold air rushes in. Major Thomas Farabee peers through the northern bomb site. Hiroshima comes into view, rivers cutting silver lines through the city. Bridges, streets, rooftops, everything sharp and impossibly peaceful. Target in sight, he says. In the cockpit, Lewis grips the controls harder than necessary. His heart pounds so loud he's sure someone else can hear it. At 8:15 local time, the bomb is released. For a moment, nothing happens. The aircraft lurches upward as the weight disappears. Tibbets orders a sharp turn away from the target. Then the world below explodes into light, not fire, not flame light. Brighter than the sun, violent and absolute. Even through dark goggles, it burns white into their vision. My God, a voice whispers over the intercom. A shockwave slams into the aircraft, rattling metal and bone. Instruments shake. Men brace instinctively, waiting for damage that never quite comes. Below them, Hiroshima vanishes. Nakamura never hears the sound. The flash consumes the morning, erasing shadows and casting new ones into walls and stone. The force throws him backward, the air itself becoming a weapon. Buildings fold inward. Wood, flesh, and glass are swept away as if they never mattered. Rivers surge with debris. Streets ignite. The city becomes a single, rising column of smoke and fire. From miles above, the mushroom cloud climbs into the sky, darkening at its base, boiling upward like something alive. Lewis turns to look despite himself. He feels hollow. Somewhere inside him, a voice asks a question that will never leave. What have we done? As the Enola Gay speeds away, the radios crackle back to life. Routine reports. Coordinates. Engine readings. Normal sounds trying to pretend this is a normal mission. Thousands of miles away, in quiet rooms filled with humming equipment, American intelligence officers lean closer to their headsets. Japanese frequencies come alive not with orders or threats, but confusion. City destroyed, unknown weapon, communications lost, pencils scratch across paper. Translators exchange uneasy glances. They had expected anger, defiance, vows of revenge. Instead, they hear disbelief, and as the smoke over Hiroshima continues to rise, the men listening on the radios begin to understand that the war has crossed a line no one can see but no one will ever forget. The radios never fall silent after that day. In dimly lit intelligence rooms from Pearl Harbor to Washington, the steady rhythm of Morse code and fractured voice transmissions fills the air. Coffee goes cold on desks. Ashtrays overflow. Men and women trained to hear meaning in chaos listen more closely than ever before. Japanese military frequencies are alive with urgency. Entire city no longer functioning. Medical facilities destroyed. Nature of bomb unknown. A young translator pauses, removing his headphones. His hands tremble slightly as he writes. This is not bravado. This is not propaganda. It is the sound of an army trying to understand the impossible. In Tokyo, Imperial General Headquarters reels. Maps are spread across tables, red pins marking cities already lost to firebombing. Hiroshima is circled again and again, the ink darkening as officers argue. Some insist it must have been a single, extraordinarily powerful bomb. Others fear something far worse. Lieutenant Masao Nakamura is pulled from the ruins days later. His uniform is burned into his skin, his vision clouded by pain. Around him, Hiroshima is unrecognizable, a flat, smoking scar where a city once stood. He helps carry the wounded, stepping carefully to avoid bodies that lie where streets used to be. At night, fires glow beneath the rubble, and the air tastes of metal and death. Across the ocean, Colonel Paul Tibbets files his mission report. The words are precise, efficient, empty of emotion. Yet when he is alone, he stares at his hands as if they belong to someone else. There will be another mission, he knows. The war has not stopped. On August 9th, the radios erupt again. Second attack confirmed. Target, Nagasaki. Sim weapon. In intelligence rooms, the mood changes. Analysts who once argued now sit in silence. This is no longer an experiment. It is a message. In Japan, the second distraction breaks something that had held through years of loss. Intercepted messages grow raw, stripped of formality. We cannot protect the homeland. There is no defense. Civilian casualties beyond calculation. Then, something unprecedented appears on the airwaves. The Emperor, considering direct action. American officers lean forward. Some remove their headphones slowly, as if afraid to breathe too loudly. This is the turning point they had hoped for, feared for, planned around but never truly believed would come. In a battered radio set somewhere in Japan, Emperor Hirohito's voice is recorded for broadcast. It is soft, restrained, carrying the weight of centuries. He speaks of endurance, of bearing the unbearable, of preserving the nation for the future. When his words finally reach the people, soldiers lay down rifles. Pilots step away from aircraft they had sworn to fly until death. Nakamura hears the broadcast from a makeshift hospital bed. Tears run silently down his burned face, not for defeat, but for survival he never asked for. In the Pacific, American sailors cheer when the news reaches their ships. Some laugh. Some pray. Others simply sit, exhausted beyond celebration. Victory tastes different when it arrives this way. Weeks later, intelligence officers archive the final intercepts. The voices that once filled their rooms are reduced to typed pages and stamped folders. Proof that the enemy had known fear, doubt, and sorrow just as they had. Hiroshima remains a ruin long after the war ends. Nakamura returns years later, standing where his unit's headquarters once stood. New buildings rise, but the ground remembers. Captain Robert Lewis never forgets the view from 31,000 feet. He writes about it for the rest of his life, trying to make sense of a moment that ended a war and began an age of fear. The atomic bomb brought silence to the guns of the world, but it left an echo that still hums beneath history. Courage ended the war. Sacrifice paid the price. And humanity learned that victory, once achieved, can weigh as heavily as defeat.